Now, and then, now I'd love you to get into the details of what the jail was like, because I heard a little bit and it freaked me the f out.
You want me to get into the needy?
And the greedy.
Oh, dude. So, I'm chilling in the one-person cell for a little bit, and reality hasn't really sunk in.
Right.
I think that my bond is going to pop up on the monitor. It's going to be $5,000 or something, which bond you get back. What if you attend all your court dates, the bond comes back to you. So I'm like, I can just swipe my credit card. It'll be totally fine.
Yeah.
I'll be out of here. I'm very optimistic waiting for that. An hour goes by. 2 hours go by. 3 hours go by. One of the officers comes and opens my cell, and I go, oh, hell yes, here it is. And he says, Mullen? And I'm like, yeah. I'm taking you to the back. I go, what? I ask him again, do I have a bond yet? And he says, no bond. And I say, is there any chance an attorney can spring me out of here before Monday? And he just goes, I don't think so, man. I think you're going to be here until Monday.
And you know what? They ended up telling me why that was. It was because they deemed you a very high flight risk.
Really?
Yes. They thought because you were from California and a fucking, I don't know, a real big-time YouTuber, you were going to get out of there and flee the state.
Wow. Flee the country, maybe.
Flee the country, maybe.
So yeah,
continue.
I was not a flight risk, and I just wanted to pay the bond and then deal with things as usual. Well, they're taking me into the back of the jail, and right then it hits me that, like, hey, I'm actually probably going to be here for 4 days in this jail. And we get into the back area. There's a circular hallway. And every 50 or so yards in this big circular hallway, there is an enclosure, not for animals, but for humans. There are common areas. There's about 6 of them in total. And prisoners are in there mingling around. And then all the cells are in those common areas, but they were at the moment out and about milling. And I see now, like, oh, shit. I thought it was bad in my own little private cell. They're now introducing me to the general population.
Wow. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, my little asshole, I realized, was in jeopardy.
Oh, yes.
And this was Eastern Tennessee, people. This was not Beverly Hills. This wasn't Folsom, California, San Francisco Bay Area. Though I'm sure all of those jails probably have a lot of fucked up people in them too.
I'm sure, yeah.
I mean, LA County just got a bunch of lawsuits levied against it for being a terrible place to be incarcerated.
Yeah, our boy King Croc, dude. Remember that story? He slept in the shower and we were like, are you sure you weren't high on something? But sure enough, that's what they're getting sued for.
Well, it was pretty bad here too. So they open the door and I'm faced with like 40 guys, all in oranges, all white. They put me in with the Aryan Brotherhood.
Jesus.
Just kidding. I don't know if any of these guys are not.
Who knows?
But I walked into that room and I thought right away, okay, I'm going to be here for 4 days. Thank fuck I know jujitsu. Because I cannot imagine being like, Austin, you would imagine going to prison, how terrified you would be.
Oh, dude.
Or jail.
I would need to like shave my head.
Yeah.
Like before I even got in there.
I mean, you need to really join the Aryan Brotherhood. And maybe suck someone's cock in order to save your asshole.
I can always get the tats covered, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah. They have good like removal now. They take most of the tattoo off, but
yeah, it'd be worth it.
Continue.
Yeah, I mean, if I were Austin, I would have just fallen to my knees and opened my mouth the second I walked into that enclosure.
100%, yeah.
But I get in there, and I'm just trying to smile and look confident because I watched a documentary on prison once where they said that was important, to look confident. So I go in there, but I mean, part of me is like, this is so fucked.
Yeah.
Here we go. And then there is comfort right away because one of the guys in the enclosure, the big common area, recognizes me from YouTube. He's like, is that fucking Daddy Mullen, dude?
Yeah.
He wasn't Mexican. I don't know why I said that.
It was such a small town that I ended up going to the Burger King next to the hotel, and I found his brother, who he had a contraband phone.
So let me explain this. So the guy that recognized me was a striped suit kind of guy, they call it. Like, he worked for the prison. He had a special suit that was striped instead of pure orange, and he helped with the laundry. He helped deliver meals. So they gave him privileges, one of which is he gets a phone that has no internet access as far as browsing the web. You can't make calls on it, but you can text.
Right.
So he immediately is super cool to me, and he texts his brother, I guess, that Danny Mullen is in there.
Right.
And then you happen to be at the Burger King that his brother works at.
Yep.
And at those two things are happening at the same time.
Yes.
You meet the brother in Burger King. I meet the other brother in jail.
Yeah, it's insane. But there was that small of a town where I just like ran into the guy. So I'm communicating with Danny through this guy's brother in the jail. But
Yeah.
then continue.
And I text my dad, which I realize is a bitch boy little thing to do, but fuck you. I mean, if I can take advantage of your connections.
What else who else would you have called? I mean, you didn't have a lawyer. I mean,
I'm going to call my dad. I want out of here.
you had to call your dad.
I text my dad because, we had content to shoot that weekend, and I didn't want to spend 4 days in jail.
By the way, shout out to Dylan. That was the kid that worked at Burger King. That's the brother of
Robbie, the kid in jail that I met.
Yeah, Dylan and Robbie, we love you guys. Fans of the channel. You guys are awesome.
You like him, Fez?
Fez.
Oh, they would have had a fucking ball with you in jail. Buddy.
Oh, yeah, dude.
They would.
No way,
You
man.
wouldn't be a virgin anymore, I'll tell you that much.
They wouldn't, yeah. I mean, they haven't seen a set of tits like that since they were on the outside.
Okay, continue, my friend.
So once I meet this guy, Robbie, everybody in the jail is super cool. The young guys were all like making super funny gay jokes and just fratty. They basically had the sense of humor that a lot of our fans have.
Dope, yeah.
Like the guy Robbie was scrolling through some pictures of him and his ex-girlfriend, and then he scrolled to one with just him in his suit looking chipper. And then this random guy who looks like a criminal walks by and says, "That's the day Robbie came out of the closet." Just like they're just making jokes like we would, just fucking around.
Yeah.
And even the old guys who were like in their 50s and 60s, that like I was showering because I wanted to shower. There's like, you better hurry up. We only have 3 hours in the communal area every day. And then you're locked down for 21 hours in your cell with just your cellmate with nothing to do. So they're like, you better hustle up and take a shower.
How big was the cell?
Well, the shower, I'll get to the cell, but the cell is the size of this room, like half of this room.
8 by
tiny.
like 10 by 10 or something? Or?
It's hard for me to say exactly, but I mean, it's your bunk bed is half the length of it and about half the width of it. So it's not much bigger than just your bed. And I'll get more into the cell, but I shower and people can't see your cock. I have a bit in my stand-up right now about getting raped in the prison shower, and now I have a completely new take on that because I had to take a shower in jail. And, it's really the dropping the soap thing is what everybody makes a big deal about. But, I mean, at some point, like, when I got out of the shower, I had to dry off my shins, and I realized, like, hey, I'm just as vulnerable drying off my shins as I would be dropping the soap. So
It's a concept.
yeah,
there.
there's really no relief from rape threat when you're... I mean, like if you want to dry your shins off, you're just as vulnerable as dropping the soap. But I'm in there, and the shower, it's up to your nipples, the cement wall that surrounds it, so it's kind of nice. Your dick isn't visible, which for me wouldn't be good. I'm next to like some 60-year-old guy who's just super nice, like giving me the lay of the land. Like, yeah, the judge is actually pretty cool here. And I found out the judge was cool on Monday. And then I met my cellmate, this guy, Greg. And Greg was like in there for heavy narcotics, or methamphetamine, if that is a narcotic. And I met him, and he is just a Southern or Appalachian meth guy. That's what he did. But he was nice to me, and he showed me the lay of the land. And once we got locked down, I realized it was going to be me and old Greggy for the next 4 days for 21 hours a day.
So you were kind of like getting mentally prepared to stay for 4 days?
Yeah. Well, I was optimistic that I would get out, but I was also like, hey, you got to strategize for what's to come.
Yeah.
And at first I was strategizing like, okay, what do I do if Greg attacks me at 2 a.m. in my bunk? How am I going to be ready to fend off that attack? And again, dude, like if you don't know jujitsu and you're locked in a cell with a 50-year-old guy who's there for heavy drug crimes, like how could you be confident you're going to be safe?
Right. You can't.
Like, I don't know how close the officers are to your cell. I don't think they're very close at all.
No.
So if he just attacked you or tried to rape you, like he's going to have probably a few minutes before anybody arrives.
Right.
And you're asleep.
Right.
So that's what the scariest part about it was, how claustrophobic it was. You're locked up with a guy who is there for drugs. You don't know if he's dangerous or anything. He just says he's there for drugs. But yeah, that was fucking scary, dude. And knowing that I would be there for 21 hours a day and there was nothing to do. There's no TV. One of the guys, again, they were super cool, all the guys in the enclosure. One of them gave me a book, which was some like 1960s Western. So I actually was pretty hyped on that. I'm like, at least I got that.
Yeah.
The toilet is about me to Fez right now, which I don't know if we can see that on the cameras. It's about 3 feet. So if I was going to take a shit, I would have to be squatting while pretty much making eye contact with my cellmate Greg while I took a shit and wiped.
Jesus.
Just right in front of him.
Soap? They have soap in there?
Yeah, you get a bar of soap. But your bed. So my bed is, first of all, it's covered in grime and like pubic hair. Like the iron part of the bed. Not covered, but I see a lot of grime and I see multiple pubic hairs. Mm-hmm. Or body hairs, I don't know.
What kind of light? They had like a fluorescent light in there or something?
The light is, it's really unflattering, real bright, and you can see, the remnants of the guy who was in there before you. Mm-hmm. And the mattress they give you is pretty much like a pool toy that's been deflated. Mm-hmm. It offers no real padding. It's not even... It's probably about as soft as if I slept on this carpet that our feet are on.
Jesus.
Not great.
So you're not sleeping much.
Yeah. I actually slept okay. I woke up a lot. Another problem is they don't completely turn the light off at night. They just dim the light. So which science has proven that you sleep best in a pitch dark room, mm-hmm. and if there's any light at all that's going to fuck with your sleep. Well, if you're in prison, I guess you're never getting a good night's sleep because that light doesn't go very low.
That's what, I don't want to compare that to The Bachelorette, but they did have these giant lights that they would turn on at 8 a.m. and then turn them off at 4 a.m. And that was designed to keep you from sleeping much because the sleep deprivation is a big part of the reality show game.
Great.
To kind of, but anyway, continue. Sorry.
That's insane, but...
It's fucked up, huh?
Yeah, it's pretty fucked up.
Yeah,
so it was only off for 4 hours?
Yeah, bro. We could only sleep about everybody, and we would the only time we were off mic was those 4 hours, so we would talk like for at least an hour of that. So everybody, basically nobody was sleeping.
Yeah. Well, at least in jail, they pretend they want you to get a healthy amount of sleep. I think they're shut off for 7 or 8 hours, the lights, or dimmed for 7 or 8 hours. But me and my cellmate Greg, until like midnight, are playing one-on-one blackjack, which isn't very fun if you've ever played it.
Yeah.
He was like, I gave him, the guy Robbie, who was a fan of the channel, because he worked at the jail, he gave me a bunch of snacks. I just gave them all to Greg because it was like hot jalapeno Cheetos and top ramen and a Hostess cracker cake.
Wow.
That I am not yet desperate enough to eat.
Yeah.
I did eat the prison food the next morning. I'll tell you about that. But I wasn't desperate enough to dive into this shit yet.
It is wild how unhealthy the commissary choices are in jail. It's like all just stuff that'll make you die faster.
It was pretty bad. I mean, the stuff that came out in the morning was a little bit better than that. But yeah, I mean, that stuff was... And that was so many guys, because I just kind of passed that stuff out because the guy Robbie gave me so much and I didn't really want it. They react to that like you would react, Austin, to a big titty Asian girl who liked anime.
Well, typically it's recommended not to give people stuff like that. I mean, you're only staying a few days, but if they see that you are someone that would just give something away, that's when people start trying to use you for shit.
Yeah.
You're not really supposed to give anybody anything.
Well, I mean, you would know, Austin. You've done hard time. I mean, you're probably right.
I'm just trying to stay prepared so whenever I get locked up, I don't immediately get raped.
You're so fucked. You're probably right. But I wasn't going to be there for that long, and I didn't really care that much. And if anybody wanted to try anything on me, fucking bring it on, cocksucker. But I also just wanted my cellmate to like me. So I wake up constantly because your hips start going numb from the lack of padding. And I don't know, I think if you have some money, maybe you can improve your bedding, but the standard options are not great for the comfort level. But I have a fitful night of sleep. I end up sleeping until 9 a.m. They put in a tray of food. The cell slot opens, 2 trays come in. Peas, oatmeal, pretty sugary, 2 pieces of white bread, Wonder Bread, I think, and maybe something else that I can't remember.
No coffee.
No coffee. They don't let you have coffee there.
Oh my God, I'd be dead. I'd have
that
a
was
headache.
the most disappointing thing.
I'd have the caffeine headache at around 11, 12.
And also, I wanted the coffee to be able to time my shits for when we were in the common area and my cellmate was out of the cell.
Right.
Dude, I was so afraid to shit in front of Greg. Like, just to be locked in a room with a guy who's just looking at you while you move your bowels. And you're facing him.
I wouldn't be able to shit. It'd probably take you like a while before you'd be able to shit comfortably like that. I mean, I'm sure you'd get used to it. But
Yeah, you get used to everything. But, I mean, I'm the king of taking wee-wees on command anywhere.
Right.
Not the king of taking shits on command anywhere. That's not my thing. That's Nico, dude.
You did take a shit in Fan Jerry's car, though. That was really How the hell did you do that?
You know, you raise a good point, Leo. I'm not too sure.
That was impressive.
Sometimes I was the mother whose son was run over by a minivan, and I found the strength in myself to lift the tires.
There it is.
Just came from a deep, deep place.
For the video, yeah.
I'm just sleeping in because my sleep quality was so bad that night that I ended up just taking naps up until 9 or 10 a.m. after going to bed at like midnight. But it did start to occur to me then, like, dude, what if they just do not fuck around in Eastern Tennessee and this thing that you think was clearly a joke and not a big deal lands you in jail for a year or two? What if you don't get out of here?